Hello, welcome to the Mediocre Takes podcast, the podcast where we share our mediocre takes on the shows and movies we watch. I'm Marco and I'm here with my co-host Mel. How are you doing, Mel?
I feel empty inside. My mom disowned me last week.
What?
She said that she wanted to be happy and that I don't make her happy anymore.
Oh,
so
wait,
she's
you
just
did
gonna
say
move on with
that.
her life. Yeah.
You did say that, you just didn't say the disown part.
Oh, yeah.
I'll probably cut that out.
You could keep it in.
Are you sure?
I feel like a lot of people who watch this also probably have mommy issues, so.
Today we're going to be discussing another season of the Trauma Train, Infinity Train. This time we're talking about Infinity Train Season 4, the final season. Also, next week we're going to be talking about Don't Hug Me I'm Scared because we finally hit 500 plays. Be on the lookout for that, you guys. Episode 1. We hear One says, "This is how it always begins." We see two babies, Ryan and Mingy, in a hospital. We see them as kids as they play a song to their family, which doesn't go over well. We see them grown up planning their band tour. We see them practicing. We cut to them backstage where they are getting ready to perform at a concert, and Mingy gives Ryan a shirt of their band name. Their band name is Chicken Choice Judy. Ryan tells Mingy that they are leaving to go on tour in a week, and Mingy takes this poorly and runs back home while Ryan performs alone. We cut to Mingy working at a diner alone while Ryan travels alone. We see Mingy get into college while Ryan breaks up with every girlfriend he has. I believe it's 3 of them. We cut to them meeting again. Ryan cuts to the point. He tells Mingy that he has a show in New York City and they can finally be in a band together. Mingy tells Ryan that music is what Ryan always wanted, but not what Mingy himself wanted. Ryan steals Mingy's keys to the diner. Mingy goes after him. They go to a train station where the Infinity Train shows up. Ryan throws the keys into the Infinity Train portal. They run after it. It turns out what we've been watching is a tape that One created. One tells Amelia that anything is possible on the train, even 2 people being on the same tape. And he explains that once they get to their seats, it's up to them to sort things out. And Amelia says, and if they don't, then One says, then they die here. And that's how the episode ends. One thing that I want to mention is that I love how every time a train shows up, it's always different. When we see Tulip's train, it's like a green train to Oshkosh. And then when we see Grace's train, it's all pretty and white and like royalty like. And then when we see Ryan and Mingy's car, it's like really cool with like lightning stripes and red. I just really like that touch, how it shows up differently for each person. Okay, so I really love that last line in this episode, the "then they die here" line. It's really well written and such an iconic line. I really love the whole split screen aspect of this episode. So like the episode splits the screen in half to show the separation of Ryan and Mingy. And I really love the fact that they did that. I love how their paths diverge once again, and the way it's shown is really well done. Also, I like that One gives Amelia the idea to create her dead husband. Like, that's kind of funny. Like, he says anything is possible on the train eventually, and that gives Amelia the idea. Also, I wonder how Amelia made it to the front of the train. Like, did she engineer something to get her in the front, or was she helped by the cat? Because we know the cat and her have some kind of relationship before season 1. Like, that's never answered, and we would probably get it answered in season 5 of Infinity Train, because season 5 would be an Amelia origin story, but I just really want to know that. So like I've said in the past seasons, I have a theory that the train shows up whenever you decide to do something poorly in your life, because the train shows up this time when Ryan and Mingy end up running away. The running away might be an overused plot by this point. Okay, so I have a groundbreaking theory about One. I think that at first he was kind of like secretly evil. Now I'm going to try my best to explain it in the best terms possible, but basically Amelia always refers to One as One, and this season is a prequel, and when we see One, he has only one eye, right? If One used to be one robot, but became 2 robots, Sandone and Gladone, after Amelia took over the train. Now hear me out. We basically see in this season that the train cars were a lot more dangerous before Amelia took over. So Amelia basically did a good thing by keeping passengers safe, and 1 is a lot more careless about the lives of passengers compared to 1-1. Let's not forget that when Lake was trying to make it off the train, and one of the flex officers offered to kill Lake while 1-1 was being confused, and 1-1 was like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. I'm going to be going over this theory more because we're never going to see the next 4 seasons, and I feel like I'm like right on the money on this one. Also, Emilio might be a bit more complicated than we thought. She realized there was something off with 1, and that's why she took over as well. Also, I wonder how 1 became 1-1. Like, I really want to know.
I'm sorry, your theory just like totally threw me off because it actually makes so much sense to me, and I'm so glad that you pick up on things that I don't. That's good though. Holy shit, Marco. Okay. Mingi's mom's voice actor is Nikki Yang, aka Lady Rainicorn and BMO from Adventure Time. I just want to say that. Anyway, yeah, Ryan's parents should have known he was fruity when he put on David Bowie face paint and started singing. Okay, just a question. Why the fuck did Mingi just sit there and watch as Ryan ran away and only got up to like run after him after he was out of sight? For some reason, I don't know why, but that just made me so angry. Like, why would you wait so long? Like, it's such a little thing, but I'm like, what the fuck? I did not like that Ryan basically forced Min into the train. That was completely fucked in my opinion. I didn't even notice how the look of the trains are tailored to the person who might enter, but that is just so cool, and just another reason why this show is just so, it's so good. Just the little things like that I obviously did not notice. Young Amelia looks groovy, if I do say so myself, but she still is British, so. I also think it's really cool that we get to see the return of the gravity boots. Well, I guess the origin or whatever of the gravity boots.
I was going to say, maybe he thought he would come back or something. I don't know.
I don't know, just like the fact that he stood there like, Ryan, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Episode 2. Ryan and Mingi wake up in an icy place with the belle, who is Kez. Kez tries to explain why they are here but fails to. Suddenly, some people are chasing Kez. They play around with some kind of thermostat that changes the geological eras. They continue to run away from the people chasing them. Oh, they fix the weird thermostat, but Ken spins it again because the weird aliens are about to chase them again. Kez explains that in order to get off the train, their numbers have to go down to 0. Kez realizes they have the same number. Kez thinks that Ryan and Mingi are mortal enemies, but Ryan and Mingi explain that they are friends. They go to the next train car only to be in trouble again. Okay, so in this train car, like I said in all past seasons, was amazing and creative. Like, all the train cars are amazing and creative. I don't know how they managed to keep each season fresh, but it's amazing. Also, I love the art in this episode. Or I think that I meant last episode. Both of these episodes, the art were great. I love the backgrounds, and every time they changed the thermostat, the backgrounds were always really good looking. The weird one thought alien was really funny to me. Like, we are one thought. Kez basically proves my theory that the train shows up whenever you make a bad decision in life that I didn't notice when I first watched this a few years ago. She basically says, I think she says, did you ever make a bad decision, like a crossroads in your life, and you make the bad decision and that's what happens? That's basically what she says, and like that proves my theory. I love how awkward it is between Mingi and Ryan when they say they're actually really good friends. Like, that shit was cringe.
It's just gay culture, Marco.
I know, right? We gotta talk about how gay these two feel.
Well, this whole thing is basically of friends to like acquaintances to friends to lovers.
I know a lot of people wouldn't believe in this, like them being gay or whatever.
Like, what person would not look at them and all their interactions? Who would look at all that and say, those guys are such great guy friends? Like, I'm so happy that their friendship is good at the end. That little boy put on David Bowie face paint.
We gotta talk about that time when Mingi gave Ryan a shirt and then Ryan hugged him and Mingi was blushing.
It's always about the subtle little blushes in gay cartoons. I love Kez. Once again, Infinity Train has another banger character. When they changed the thermostat to the jungle, I don't know if you noticed this, but that sloth in the tree in the background looked so much like Tuba, and that made me really sad. The awkwardness of pretending things are fine between your and your your same-sex friend who you totally don't have a crush on is, I feel like, almost a universal gay experience. So yes, I did cringe, but I was also like, okay, same maybe. And I love the idea that this stupid fucking magical Belle has like just fucked with a bunch of people and she just has enemies everywhere she goes.
So episode 3, Kez is in trouble again by cowboy insects. At least that's what I call them. Kez distracts the cowboy insects and they run away. They run into a saloon and find the one and only cat. Ryan flirts with the cat and finds a hiding place only for the cat to turn them in. Kez breaks out and they think Kez left them. They meet the judge who says they're guilty. They are about to be fried because they're guilty, but Kez and the cat end up saving them. The aliens meet up with the cowboy insects and say, hey, have you seen Kez? Okay, and that's the end of the episode. Okay, so the whole flirting with the cat thing was absolutely iconic. I find it funny that Mingy questions Ryan and says, why did you flirt with the cat? And then Kez says, I don't know, man, she's kind of hot. I like that we get to see the cat in each season so far, since Cat is once again an iconic character in this show. I found the outfit she was wearing this time to be a bit weird, usually because her outfits are more simple than this, and I wonder how old the cat is, because she says like, I haven't gone a vacation in 100 years or something in season 3, and I think by this point it's pretty obvious what's going to happen by the end of the season with the whole mob going after them, but when I first watched this I could not guess what would happen.
Kez is such a girl boss for spitting glitter in the eyes of the cast of A Bug's Life. Yeah, so okay, the cat returns and she's up to her familiar antics. She has been in every season, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Kez was so right for abandoning those losers in the jail cell. Also, that trial seemed super realistic. I'm like really surprised that they decided to base that scene on the American justice system. A random thought that popped into my head when their numbers went down was immediately, what if one of them died? What would the rules be for that? Following what we've already seen, they'd probably have to like deal with the grief or whatever, but I think it would be really interesting to see something like that. Too bad we will never get that possibility of a chance. Thanks, Warner Bros. Discovery.
You know what? I thought of that same idea when I was watching the show. I was like, what if one of them died or something?
Their number would just immediately go up.
I love how we're just on the same wavelength. Episode 4, they go to the next train car where Kez basically pretends to be a chef's hat because someone in this train car hates them as well. They meet the pig baby who asks for treats and cries when there's none. They decide to make the pig baby a treat. They fail to make the dessert. They learn that there's only one cookbook they can use because there was a fire. They end up making brownies. Min-gi thinks that the reason they're on the train is because Ryan, since he caused the number to go down. They realize the pig baby has the door in his mouth, and so they reveal Kez's identity to make the pig baby cry. They escape, and that's how the episode ends. Okay, so I hate Pig Baby so much. He's so fucking weird to look at and makes me uncomfortable. So yeah, I don't know what they were thinking about with this one. I think Mingi's ego got to the best of him in this episode, and man, do I hate this part of this season. This and like the next episode were really fucking frustrating to watch, and I hate it so much. I like how they go back and forth from their number going up and down and up and down. This is the first time we've seen this happen so much. First season we only see it go like up once, I think.
That porcelain cow and her fat, ugly pig baby was disturbing, and I hated it. It gave me very much Norman Bate vibes. The call out on gross American food is so right. And then also that like random reference to women's liberation. This was just a really strange episode, which I feel like is saying, well, that cart in general was just really fucking strange, which I feel like is saying a lot because we've seen a lot of different types of carts. And I love that immediately after they see their numbers go down, Mingy blames all of it on Ryan. Honestly, I would too, though.
Episode 5. This episode starts with Ryan and Mingy solving a baby puzzle. It's one of those puzzles where you have to put the shapes into the holes. Kez calls out how they're feeling. Mingy is smug while Ryan is annoyed. They go to the next train car where Kez explains that her friends are in a party. They try to break into the place only to fail. They argue about what the right thing to do is. Mingy keeps trying to tell Ryan to wait, but Ryan keeps trying to break in. Ryan almost falls, but Mingi saves him. They get into another fight. Mingi realizes that waiting is the wrong idea as well and stops being smug. This is because when Ryan pushes Mingi, Mingi falls onto a person and he realizes that all the people waiting are dead. They try to get into the party by pretending to be a band. They manage to get inside, but suddenly their shoes get locked and they can't walk anymore. Suddenly the steward shows up and that's the end of the episode. I really like the pacing in this episode compared to most of the episodes. Nothing felt too drawn out or too rushed in this episode. It's just right. We spend the right amount of time with Mingi being smug, which I'm glad about because if it was extremely drawn out, I would be extremely annoyed. I really like how Kez kisses Mingi, but then Mingi gets confused because Kez is a metal object, but for some reason her kiss feels warm.
Okay, first of all, I loved the spacesuits. I don't know why. I found them really hot. Like, I don't know if there's such like
What?
it sounds so stupid. Marco, I really don't know how to explain this, but I feel like this like awoken something in me. I don't want to get into it, but Alien is one of my favorite movies ever. But listen, okay, just listen. Something about this like spacesuits in general. I don't know if there is such thing as like a spacesuit kink, but if there is, I have it, and I just want to put that out here.
Digital footprint, Mal. Digital footprint.
Okay, sure, yeah, all right. We'll see where that goes in the future. How is Min not fazed by like how big of a hole Ryan dug with his own bare hands? It was a pretty big hole, and I feel like it was just accepted that he did that. Min belittling Ryan and treating him like a child was like pretty funny until he started yelling at him. That just gave me really bad vibes. And I really liked how the number was lowered after they solved the puzzle and rose after Min refused to talk about his mistake. I love that so much. So much was said with like no words.
Episode 6. The steward shows up. We hear one, and I'm going to call him one during the season because my theory is that he's just one person. We hear one say that this is a train-wide announcement. Your belongings are yours once again. Then we see one give them their belongings in a case. After that, we hear Amelia quietly say, "This will be good. Now we can individuate them." And then the steward leaves. Their boots are unlocked and Kez wakes up from being frozen. Kez explains that happens sometimes. They open their box and find their stuff. They meet some of Kez's quote-unquote friends who make fun of Kez. Mingi is ready to sing a song with Ryan, but finds the keys to the restaurant that caused them to be on the train in the first place. Mingi runs away and hides in the bathroom, and Ryan goes after him. They talk about even if they tried to become a band, they're just two Asian dudes from BC called Chicken Choice Judy. They end the episode with them playing a song in the bathroom and the door opens. So basically in this episode there's a puzzle where the door only opens if someone is being happy, and the door opens because only the three of them are happy. So I really love this episode, especially the end scene. Like the end scene where they're all playing music and their number went down and they continued to play music was great. I love how Kez looks like in the end of the episode as well when she's sitting on Mingi's shoulder. It's a really peaceful scene. And I like how the door opened afterward. Okay, so the whole one thing, giving the passengers back their belongings, make me question stuff. Like Amelia says this will be good to help one differentiate the passengers, which begs the question, how bad is the original version of one at telling the difference between passengers? And I just want to point out that one compared to one can probably differentiate passengers easily. One only sees people as numbers and nothing else. And even though one sees people as numbers as well, there's a bit more humanity in him.
Have you ever played Portal?
No.
I am feeling a lot of similarities between one and GLaDOS. That's all I'm gonna say. That beginning scene with the conductor and being able to hear Amelia in the background telling one what to do is such good foreshadowing. It's also really so cute and like so gay that Ryan kept that stupid little shirt. I did not expect this show to bluntly talk about how race can affect the chances people get in regards to being able to follow their dreams. I feel like their messages have been more subtle in previous seasons, but I really liked how blunt Min was. And once again, it makes me very upset that this show was canceled, because it would have been so interesting to see how far they'd be able to push things with future seasons. But I guess we'll never get that.
So episode 7, they go to the next train car where Mingi feels cold. They look at pieces of art. Something strange is happening and there's some kind of shadow monster following Mingi. Ryan gets mad at Kez. The shadow creature starts following both Ryan and Mingi. Kez screams. Mingi and Ryan go after them. Ryan looks at a piece of art that turns out to be the door. He can't see Mingi, but Mingi can't see him. A hand monster shows up and tries attacking Mingi. Ryan says he's not going anywhere and won't leave him when suddenly his number goes down to 0. But then Ryan thinks about leaving and his number goes back up. Mingi escapes from the hand monster and Mingi starts crying because Ryan left him. So one weird thing that they do in this episode is make the door transparent. Like usually you can't see through the door, like back where the room is, but for some reason to make this plot make sense, they made the door transparent. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I feel like if they're gonna like stick to something like the door can't be transparent, they should probably stick to that. But I mean, it's fine by me because like it leads to a really interesting plot line. The weird hand monster thing was creepy as fuck and I loved it. I like how it made Ryan and Mingi turn against each other and I liked how it looked. I also think that the hand monster is like the hands of dead passengers, because in one of the hands we can see the numbers on one of the passengers. I don't know if you noticed that, but like it was a long number that went up to here.
Oh my god, it's fucking Draco Malfoy from last season.
What?
What's that fucking guy? What's that guy? Blonde dude. I hate him. What's his name?
Oh, Simon.
Yeah, it's him.
I love how you called him Draco Malfoy. The monster is like the dead hands of passengers, which is really interesting. I also like the fact that the door was a different type of puzzle than we've seen before, and how you look at it from it is the right angle to open it. Also, I like the Super Mario 64 reference. Technically, the show takes place in 1980s, and Super Mario 64 doesn't come out until 1996, but whatever, it's fine. It's funny.
I really love the concept of the shadows in this episode, but I absolutely hated that whack-ass hand monster that came out of that painting like the fucking Ring Girl. That was freaky as fuck. I also think it was so cool that Ryan's number went to 0 after he said he wouldn't leave Min, and then closed when he just thought about it a little bit. Like, it's not confirmed until a later episode that is what happened, but even I just picked up on the subtlety of him being like, I'm not gonna leave you, and then like looking at the door real quick being like I don't know, something about the subtlety of it all I loved very much.
Mingi does escape and ends up crying and says, "You left me." We're in the same scene where Mingi is crying and Mingi is mad because he thinks Ryan left him to die. They go to a maze car. They talk about how much their life sucks, and Mingi explains that it felt nice to be playing a song in the bathroom, but when Ryan left, it felt like Ryan did what he always did to Mingi. He struggles to trust Ryan. The mob shows up and comes after them. Kez and the crew run. They manage to make it to the house. That's how the episode ends. I think Mingi and Ryan are about to realize both their lives sucks, and that coming together as a band is what will make them feel better. I find it funny what they did to the pig mom. She really died in that scene or something, didn't she? And I find it funny that the pig ate the butterfly person.
I really vibed with Kez awkwardly trying to be positive after witnessing an argument. Something about that, it just reminded me of, I don't know, maybe my childhood. I didn't like how all the people Kez had wronged wanted justice. I don't think Kez should face the consequences of her actions, personally. I should have said this before, but the background art in this season is so beautiful, especially the castle in this episode. I love that we got to see, I guess, more background art. There were more scenes where it was able to be shown, I guess.
Okay, episode 9. Morgan turns out to be a castle thing that is angry at Kez. Morgan is mad that Jeremy is gone, and apparently Kez took him away from Morgan. Morgan gets mad and tries to kill Mingi and Ryan. Ryan and Mingi get mad at Kez and call her out for never saying sorry about her mistakes. They try to find out what is happening to Jeremy and find his journal. They find out the last thing that Jeremy did was talk to Kez. Kez explains that Jeremy got into a car crash and that he blames himself, so Kez tells him that it wasn't his fault. Jeremy ends up getting his number down to 0 and tries to look at the vortex that is the door, but leaves on accident. Kez thinks she's messed up, but Mingi explains that their numbers are supposed to go down and that what she did was a good thing. And something starts happening, the castle starts shaking, and Morgan says that this isn't her shaking. The steward shows up again. We hear Amelia say a new announcement. At first she says, "You're all on your own now," and then she repeats, "We're all on our own." Then the steward takes their shoes and goes outside and explodes. Their numbers reset to 202 and Ryan gets mad, and that's the end of the episode. So I have a theory that Amelia wasn't so bad after all. I think she saw something that one did that was extremely bad in Amelia's eyes, and she must have taken over because of that as well. And because she wanted to bring back her dead husband, she sounded confused and worried a bit when she gives her announcement. Also, I have a feeling that because we see the steward explode, there's multiple stewards, because this one exploded. There must have been like a few left. That's why we see a steward in the first season. I love the scene where Mingi explains that Kez basically did a good thing as well.
I know this season isn't about Kez, but it is about Kez. I just really like how chaotic she is, and honestly, I can sort of relate to having trouble saying sorry. I don't make mistakes because I'm perfect, but sometimes I do make mistakes, and I do find it a little hard sometimes to apologize. Also, I think the setup for the Kez, Min, and Ryan scene was perfect, showing how much Kez has messed up and then referencing that what happened to Jeremy was an accident, so we think she did something nefarious, was A1. And then to find out that she actually helped Jeremy, but because she got yelled at, she just assumes that what she did was something bad. Chef's kiss. I feel like I'm focusing a lot on Kez, but I really cannot help it. Also, I loved Ryan's manic laugh at the end. I could hear the sound of hopelessness in it.
Episode 10. Mingi and Ryan are not in a good mood. Ryan explains to Mingi that he got an exit when Mingi was trapped by the hand monster and thought about taking it but didn't. Ryan and Mingi talk about going to New York, and Mingi forgives Ryan for leaving him. Ryan and Mingi play a song. Mingi gets his exit but decides he'll wait for Ryan. The mob starts coming after the group, but Kez finally says she's sorry. Mostly everyone forgives her except for the butterfly thing, who tries to attack Kez, but Mingi hits her and she flies away. Ryan gets his number down to 0. Ryan and Mingi leave. We cut to an open mic night in New York City. Ryan and Mingi sing an original song called Train to Nowhere, and the episode ends with the woman asking if they have any cassettes for sale. Okay, so I like this season, but it is my least favorite season, and I feel like the last half was poorly paced. I know it's hard to pace things in 10-11 minute episodes, but Mingi forgiving Ryan felt a bit rushed, and Mingi and Ryan getting the numbers down to 0 also felt a bit rushed. I know you mentioned in one of our Hello Boss episodes that you do like when there's mistakes in animation, and there is one slight mistake in this episode. In the scene where Mingi's number goes down to 0, in the next clip we see him talking to Ryan, but his number is still at 202. I don't know if you noticed this though. I sent you a picture of this on Discord. I don't know if you saw it. Also, one thing I found it hard to believe was the fact that they forgave Kez so easily. Like, I don't know how they completely forgive her, but I don't know, it felt rushed as well.
I can explain that. I can completely explain the whole accepting Kez's apology so quickly. They're Canadian. And actually, that's literally the only thing I have to say about this episode. I think the fact that the season with 2 Canadians ended on everyone saying sorry is so fucking stupid. Like, they probably said sorry like 20 times in this episode. Gag me with a fucking spoon. That shit, like, it was so fucking stupid. It felt like a hug fest, honestly. I did not enjoy that. But I did like the song at the end. But I do just want to say it's a little heartbreaking that this is your least favorite season. Personally, I think this season was a banger. It was such a sharp turn from season 3, and honestly, it was refreshing. There was angst, of course, but it was nowhere near as angsty as the last 3 seasons, in my opinion. I liked that we got to see pre-Amelia conductor era. Honestly, I'm just gonna believe your theory about 1-1. I think it makes him as a character so much more cooler. But I did like to see this version of, well, I guess we'll just call him 1, of him being like calm and calculated. It was so strange because the voice actor of 1 becomes a voice actor of Happy 1, and Happy 1 he just sounds so different. It was so strange to hear him like very calm. There was order with the the passengers getting like standardized suits and stuff, how we get to see Amelia slowly take over as a conductor in the background within like 2 interactions was just so interesting to me. Like, it's not even the main point of this season. It's just so cool to like watch this and be like, ooh, I know what happens. I want to smooch from Kez so bad because they hyped up her kiss. They're like, I don't know, it just, they made it seem like it was so magical, and now I want to be kissed by a talking bell. At this point, I would take anything from the creator. Literally, I am starving. Like, I'll take a novel, I'll take comics, dude. I want comics of this at least. Like, he can at least get comics. I just need something.
Overall, I'm really angry that the show ended. For those of you who don't know, Season 5 of Infinity Train was cancelled by Cartoon Network because it was seen as too adult, which makes me really angry because recently Cartoon Network has decided they're going to become a more adult network. I don't know if you guys have seen the Variety article. Cartoonito is becoming the child-like cartoons, while Cartoon Network is becoming the more teen and young adult cartoons.
What it used to be back in my day.
Yeah, basically. Just Google Cartoon Network Variety and you'll see my proof. This makes me so angry because if Infinity Train came out at a different time, maybe we could see all these seasons. Like, one of the seasons was supposed to be an Amelia origin story, which sounds amazing, and another season would be about revenge. There's this Q&A from Owen Dennis, the creator of Infinity Train, who explains what all the seasons would be about, and I really want to see that revenge plotline. Also, this season was supposed to be a comedy because all the other seasons were more like drastic and sad, while this season is more lighthearted. At least that's what he said. So, and we gotta talk about the gay feels. Like, they're so gay for each other, and that's all I have to say.
I love the subtlety of the gay. Here's the thing is, listen, we don't get representation. Like, we don't. But I think I've sort of been brainwashed into enjoying the subtleties of, like, you know, just a little sprinkle of homo. Like, it's that thing where you only notice if you're gay. I honestly just think it's because I've lived through years of queer baiting where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, if there was a revenge season, Marco, I don't want to sound like horny or something, but revenge is so hot. I would have loved to see that season so much.
For my least favorite, it's gonna have to be Infinity Train Season 4, the twin tapes. Then it's going to have to be Season 1, the perennial flower. Then it's going to be Season 2, cracked reflection. And then my top one is Season 3, Cult of the Conductor.
Okay, my least favorite, hands down, Season 3. Yeah, bottom, Season 3. And then, like, 1, 2, and 4 are just, there's just a bit of a margin between them two. Okay, I just need to say that right now. My third would be Season 2, and then my second would be Season 4, and then my first would be Season 1.
Really?
You know what? Actually, I think I'm gonna switch. Okay, no. Okay, my final answer. No, okay, I'm sorry. It's just... with Season 4, I love Kez so much, and then but also with Season 2, I love, who does she become? Fucking river or pond or lake or whatever. Like, I love her journey so much. Marco, I didn't really think about ranking these. I just, you know what? I just need you to understand that Season 3 I hated.
Anyways, you guys, those are our thoughts on Infinity Train Season 4 and the entire series. We hope you enjoyed this episode and the past few episodes. If you want to send us a voice message on Anchor, there will be a link in the description below to do so. We also have an Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok that we haven't posted on yet, which are at midtakespod, which will also be in the description if I remember to write it. And that's everything. So goodbye.